Okay, welcome to the open space meeting. This is a much more casual environment. We just discuss anything that's on the agenda, and if you have any questions or comments, we're all ears. So if you looked at the agenda, I kind of set it up based on what we decided our focus points were on the action plan. Right below that massive table we have on the action plan. So my intent, unless someone has a better idea for future meetings, is that everything we talk about in our meeting should go under these categories, because this is what we said we're gonna focus on. And in the future, especially like from DPW parks, like if there's specific projects happening, we can add it to the agenda. I just made this past weekend though, so I didn't have time to reach out and ask. So the first one, access and inclusion. The first thing is hunting, which I don't believe we've talked about in this committee yet, but it's hunting season as of 2 weeks ago, I believe. And conservation always gets phone calls about whether people should be hunting, shouldn't be hunting, where they should be hunting. And so a month ago, during a conservation commission meeting, we had a huge discussion about it, like what's legal, what's not. Do we have any local bylaws on it? And in summary, we don't have anything. We like follow state law.
And then there's like the law that says you need to go in front of the select board, but then we had a referral to the Conservation Commission because the person was requesting hunting on conservation land. So the select board referred her to us, I believe.
Yes. So all that being said, this kind of impacts open space because most of our big spaces are conservation, but not all of them. For example, there's the space off of Blackstone and North, that's technically owned by the planning board, but it's labeled as open space. So I just wanted to bring this in front of you guys as well, because they're hunting on open space. And if anyone has any thoughts about it, I don't know, this was just a time to have discussion about it. What the Conservation Commission is doing is if we are allowing hunting, we created an application in an order of conditions. But that kind of means nothing if nobody comes to ask for permission. And that's kind of where we're stuck right now, because people are just doing it and they're not getting in trouble for doing it. So.
Didn't you find this deer stands or like a few last winter, right, or something like that, near Arcan?
Yes, they were the one people, there's technically 3 bow hunters that they set up again this September. People called me again. I went out there and I put signs on my trail cameras saying, take these down in 2 weeks. You don't have permission. If not, I'm gonna take them. Or the town's gonna take them. And they came to me immediately because they saw me on the trail camera. And so as of right now, we kind of gave them informal permission with a set of guidelines, but they're the only people who have reached out.
Who manages this in most towns and cities? Well, towns, I guess, there's not a lot of hunting in cities. What's that?
Division of Fisheries and Wildlife.
Yeah, which is a state organization, so why are we involved in it?
Because it's technically town-owned land that they're hunting on. It's not just open, it's not state land.
Right.
And so we're allowing, well, I guess we're not allowing people to hunt on our property. And so the reason why it conflicts is because we're also encouraging people to walk trails and do all these things on our property. But if we allow them to hunt in the same place, there's no rules, like wear orange and like all those things to encourage safety.
But the state rules override anything you do.
Yeah.
Division of, and I'll tell you right now, they'd be happy to send somebody out and meet with you.
Yeah.
Well,
But
potentially, because I saw on the hunting, the state hunting laws that it says you need permission from any property owner, including public land.
It has to be in writing on person
Recommend.
while you're hunting. And anybody that's hiking, walking, you know, not hunting, even hunting, anybody out there, everybody has to be wearing the blaze orange.
When it's
The
shotgun
cap.
season.
You
Sure,
have to have
not
written
sure.
permission by the landowner. And you have to follow all the state rules.
Right, so you need written
Arrow.
permission from the landowner, owner, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
The landowner has to get written permission, yeah,
right.
that would be the town,
Yeah.
if it's town land.
And so no one's doing it. I guess that's the concern is that we are representing the open space that these people are hunting on. No one's asking for permission, and then they're also not being enforced.
Okay, but.
Hannah, if I could ask, who has jurisdiction on, I forgive me if I'm not following. Are you insinuating that the open space committee would have a say on people hunting on town land?
Yes.
Right? Maybe not.
Yeah, yes, and yes,
Cause it's
Yeah.
a recreational activity.
right.
I just don't, I'm just not following where the open space committee or a group of us right here would have any sort of authority or jurisdiction to, you know, enforce anything with any local hunter on town property. Like where does the jurisdiction lie with the open space committee? Like, doesn't that sound like something that the police should be enforcing?
Well, it would be the landowner,
Well-
Joe. I don't think necessarily, we're talking about it here.
Oh,
but-
well, yeah, I
would be-
apologize. I keep hearing we, and I didn't know if that meant like us as a group. I didn't know if I had missed
Yeah,
something.
no, I don't think we patrol that, but, I mean, if it's conservation, but we are tied in because like Hannah said, it's a good point. You know, yeah, go use these trails, and then if we have people out there hunting, that's not great.
Yeah, but.
I would think that
passive
would fall under the
recreation,
con-
hunting is passive recreation.
yeah,
And I would think it would be the environmental police. would
yeah,
have to
exactly.
follow.
That's what I was thinking.
Right, to police, yeah. If
No,
we have
just
problems with that,
Bellingham
yeah.
police.
Yeah, I don't think we,
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine we would chase people to make sure they're getting the permission. Now, if
Mm.
they're hunting on conservation land without written permission, who would we report that to? The Department of, who would you say, fishing, getting,
I think the environmental
Division of
police.
Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah.
Fish and
In
Wildlife.
We
Westboro.
were kind of talking in the Conservation Commission about how we don't really have any like structured rules and how people are gonna hunt regardless.
Mhm.
So should we, or would it be beneficial to us to make it like a designated hunting area where people know that they can hunt with permission from the owner of the property versus like the other areas where like there is no hunting, like on conservation land that abuts the drinking water properties.
Yeah, right.
That would probably not be the best place to hunt. So,
I mean, Mass has a set of abstracts that most hunters go by, and all the state rules are in there. I would probably post that on the website, so they know they can only go within 500 feet of a occupied dwelling, or 150 feet from the road, or whatever the rules are.
So, yeah, I can share
Yeah.
a map that she created that
Yeah,
shows
I
that
get that.
it's not that. I guess the question is, we technically have the right to say like no hunting at all, or. Which I'm not saying that's what I want, but, or we can say we allow hunting in these certain areas. I think it's just the fact that there's nothing being said and it's just being done, and then there's that safety situation with that.
What if it sounds like we should maybe try to coordinate a meeting with Fish and Wildlife and get guidance from them.
Yeah. that's a
Yeah,
good
on
idea.
what,
I didn't thought of that.
you know what I
This
mean?
is just as in an area.
Absolutely, there's a minimum amount of land, there's a minimum distance from any structures.
Yeah.
Roadways, there's so many rules, and I'm not a hunter, but I'm a sportsman, I was a competitive shooter, so I'm pretty knowledgeable about the stuff, being a member of a couple of sportsmen's clubs. So I do know a lot about it, and I've met numerous times with Division of Fisheries and Wildlife agents, and they're very receptive, they wanna come out and inform people,
Mm.
and they'd be more than happy. I don't know who the current one is for here,
Yeah, I don't know either.
but that's, I would call Westboro up to DFW, and have a conversation with them before we rule anything.
Yeah. Which,
That would be my advice.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about, because in my mind, I wasn't thinking about them as the beginning point that they were more enforcement, but
I'm
they
all,
might have a lot of
I'm all
rules
for
that might.
hunting, believe me, but, it has to be done safely.
the one guy I talked to from environmental police years ago, they said it would have to be posted. If it's posted, then get permission.
Posted to hunt,
Posted, no hunting.
to not hunt.
And you have to put who to contact if you want to and get permission from them.
Okay.
But are you gonna go out and post around the whole property? The whole
Right.
property
And
line,
make sure someone didn't like take them down.
take them down or things like that.
Right.
I mean,
So,
I mean-
I saw this weekend. There was postings, I was in Medfield, they had postings about hunting in the area I was in. But then I've also seen no hunt, so. Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
probably a good idea to start with whoever is in charge of it and just
Yeah.
see what towns do.
I
this,
mean, I can see
I
the,
don't either, zero.
the permission thing, the
Yeah.
slip or permission slip or whatever. But are you asking bikers to do that? Are you asking other people that ride mountain bikes?
mountain
I
bikes
mean,
don't
why are you
really
doing it?
hurt people. Other people.
How many,
Yes, they could.
how many hunting
They
accidents
could.
have we had in Bellingham?
And I don't know, like,
Right.
and so, but I think there's just a lot of concerned citizens.
Yeah.
And that's who I hear from, and then we never hear anything about the hunters, so we're like,
Mhm.
what kind of hunters are out there? Like, the person that came to Conservation Commission, they said they were very ethical, and we think that they are, and they're following our request, and like, that's great, and we hope that everyone's like that,
But then we've also had people come in and say like, I think this person's hunting too close to my house and I hear this gun firing off and I'm like, that's really not what
Here you
this
go.
board does.
Here's the new
Right, then
police
we just
number.
refer, yeah, on that
Yeah.
note, I
Send
just
them out
refer
the
them to
environmental
the.
police.
If you do it according to DFW, then you're not gonna assume any liability
Right.
if something's wrong.
Hannah, if you just do a quick Google search will tell you that the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife manages the state's hunting program, while the Massachusetts Environmental Police enforce the hunting laws. So I don't know, you could take that for what it's worth. I just don't know what kind of things this committee could do aside from posting signs at, in the town's owned land. I don't know if you could enforce really anything.
I don't think we're really talking about.
Yeah, we're not-
enforcement.
Yeah, we're not looking to enforce anything, we're looking to just kind of be informed.
And
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That they were
and,
out there.
right, and if it means that there's people can hunt on conservation land. Just have signs posted, so people
Mhm.
know. I will, again, referring back to Medfield, there's some places I like to go that I don't go this time of year. With my kids, because there's hunting going on, but I know that because there's signs posted. So maybe it's just that way we can start in open space land. Start posting some signs. Hunting in this area is permitted during these months, so people know. I think that, more than anything, Joe, I don't think, we're not talking about enforcing, we're talking about. But on that.
Like
I mean, if
awareness,
people-
I guess.
If people are hunting on conservation land or town land. It sounds like they're supposed to have written permission and it also sounds like that may not be happening.
Yeah, yep.
And what-
Yep,
and
I'm
that-
following.
Yeah, so if that's the case, we'd wanna, that's why I'm saying we start it where it starts and see what they say, and just see what best
Find
things
that
we should be
in the
doing.
town of Bellingham, where is it written?
It's in our bylaws.
It's in the bylaws?
Talk to the select board.
well, I just want to show you, Ariane made this, I don't know, a month ago, it just shows, we were just curious, like, how many parcels do we own that legally, by state regs, could someone hunt? And, there's a couple options, but you can see a lot of our parcels are really not far away enough, like this one, for example, by Beaver Pond. I know, like, there's people that
That's
hunt
like
there.
8% wetlands.
Right, and
So it doesn't account for like any wetlands, but the orange color is the 500 foot around a residence or occupied structure. And then the yellow is 150 feet from the road. So I just use like the Mass GIS building layer, and just did a buffer.
So those white, basically the white areas would be.
They're good, but.
Okay.
They're good, but not necessarily public land,
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah, they just meet all the distance requirements.
correct.
And then
Um,
our green hatches are
Have you got,
conservation
have
land.
you got town-owned land marked on that?
this is
Just
specifically
conservation.
conservation, but I know for a fact, like this, for example, which I think a long time ago you told me.
Which one?
You walked and hunted this area, right?
Which one's that?
South
can't
of
see.
Meadow.
Saddleback Hill.
No, I
No,
don't think so.
maybe we were just looking at maps, but
The High Ridge one I've been up on,
so this area is technically planning board all around this, then conservation.
so they have to go to planning board.
Right, but no, there's no, I don't even know if they know they own that. This is where I've gotten a lot of complaints.
Yeah, but that guy is 500 feet away. I went up there and looked.
And then this is where the trail cameras were, and so that's where they got permission, but point being, all of our parcels definitely are within a lot of 500-foot buffer, so it's just, it's a tight place to go hunting.
So
So,
what is the
Well,
conservation?
bow hunting is not.
we own 2 schools. Oh, are they nature schools?
The ones that aren't getting permission are the ones that are a problem. I had somebody walk right down the middle of the street with a loaded gun in front of my house, and I waited until he got past. I was watching him. And you know where I live.
Yep.
There isn't any place to hunt. And he all of a sudden he ducked down and he raised the gun and he started to go in the bushes, and he was right behind the next to last house on Lake Street. And I opened the door and I hollered. And I was like, hey, this is not private property.
Yeah.
You got a house right there. You can't fire a gun in. You can't walk down the street with a loaded gun. I don't know where he came from, no car, nothing. You would think he would have parked at the gate there, but he had walked down the street with a loaded firearm. I was like, you can't be serious. Where's he from? Rhode Island? You know,
Yeah,
I don't think all the hunters here have ill intent, they probably don't know that they're supposed to. A lot of them probably don't know, they need to go to select board to ask for permission, or the town in general to ask for permission. So, yeah, I guess I just wanted to open it up for conversation, and then, I like the idea of talking to, the environmental. What were they called?
Fish and Wildlife.
environmental police enforce
Environmental
it,
police enforcer.
but the DFW sets the rules.
Yeah, so I think that's where
So
we
the
would start.
DFW will inform you of the rules and give you a number who to contact if you have a complaint.
Right.
I kind
But
of wonder if like.
The local police
I
may
think
or
it
may
was
not,
right.
you know, depending on the
Yeah.
magnitude of the situation,
Right,
the local police would have to get involved
Is it around something?
if it was an immediate.
yeah,
The environmental police is more gonna go out there, if somebody's routinely hunting where they're not supposed to be, they're gonna come down and find them and have a talk with them.
yeah.
Or underage, ATVs and all that.
Oh, no, I have to.
Environmental police.
Any
I gotta figure
other
out which.
discussion on this? Cool, that's the kind of input I needed, so that was great. Okay, the second one I put on there is dog parks.
Dog parks?
Yeah, so, if you have any thoughts on it,
I like dogs.
the public forum, the online version, there was a lot of conversation about dog parks. I didn't have dog parks on the action plan, not that I didn't want one, it didn't match any of the current properties that we were talking about, like all of the athletic fields and all that stuff. So I did add it at the very bottom as potential new projects, and I don't know.
How does DPW feel about maintaining a dog park?
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah,
because
no, I
somebody's
mean-
gotta do it.
Yeah, I think, I'm just thinking the towns
Some are
I've
nice,
worked
some
in.
are downright.
Got a couple in.
Yeah, I think you need
much.
like a group that agrees to maintain that. I wouldn't want myself or expect others to be picking up,
Yep.
dog,
Other
cleaning up
people's.
after animals and dogs and stuff. I mean, I'm sure most people do, but there's gonna be a fair amount that don't.
Mhm.
And then there's just the maintenance with it. I'm sure there's not a ton. It's letting dogs run around, so there's not. So yeah, I think it would be good on something like that to have some sort of group or something that kind of takes care of it or maintains it, like DPW does the big stuff with it, but after that, really not much else.
I think it could probably be better served as like dog-friendly spaces. Like, as opposed to a pure dog park. Like, I'm thinking about the Holliston Rail Trail, they have little, stations every couple 100 feet that have like the poop bags, and then, there's like a little trash can that you can throw out your used poop
Yeah.
bags. Someone obviously has to take out those trashes every now and then, but, I mean, if we did it on the SNET, would that be like DCR?
That would be DCR, yeah. SNET would be, if it was SNET.
I mean, they tried to do a dog park, God, at, how old was I, 16, I gotta do that, like, maybe 10 years ago. They got actually funding for it, and they were gonna put it up at, High Street.
High Street, yeah.
But there's not enough room to do like have softball and have a dog park and run things, so. Then they were talking about putting it further down High Street where there's still town land, but I don't know.
That's owned by conservation right now. And
Yeah,
I haven't looked to see if it's a conservation restriction or if we just own it, because those are different things legally.
High Street?
So they got
Yeah,
them
it's
funding and
right.
everything?
so you know who would know is, who was
Yeah.
trying to push it, who lives, who's the selectman that lives on the, Don?
You want to, Martinez?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was involved with it, cause, I was on the softball board and they brought it up and we voiced some concern with Dennis about. Like, how can you have that there and then we have tournaments and no one could access it, so. And then who's maintaining it, cause no one, like, we were doing a lot of the work ourselves at High Street. And then
Yeah.
you're gonna put something else up there that also has to be maintained, so. Yeah, I didn't never,
Soccer fields in Franklin, and there's a dog park, isn't it? I think it was Franklin.
so,
And it's a real nice one.
yeah, what's
And
the
it
name of
gets
that?
tons of
Is
use.
that the one with the frisbee golf
It
too?
could be.
Yeah,
Could be.
next to it,
Bill
there are
Carter.
schools, yeah.
Doug Carter's Park?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, on Pleasant Street, yeah.
Headway's got one on Village Street, it's just
Yeah.
a fenced in area, and I think they have a barrel there. and
Yeah.
some bags.
Yeah,
I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
I-
it.
I-
brought our dog today,
Driving
too.
by.
Yeah.
She's not really a dog park dog.
That one's, it seems like they just said, let's have a dog park, and they put it there,
Yeah,
and
just
that's it.
slapped it somewhere, yeah.
yeah.
And
It
it's,
seems like
I think they charge $10 too for a year or something.
Oh, a little
And-
membership?
Some-
I
but it's
yeah, I
nice.
didn't- we didn't pay
But
them.
For
it's
some
not very
maintenance.
nice. It's not well kept.
Well, the only thing about fees is I think it potentially creates a liability that if
Yeah.
something bad happened
Yeah,
up there, now we're reliable, or, yeah, not reliable.
liable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
liable, thank you.
And there was a post
Just
online.
the one time.
Yeah.
Did you see the post last week about dog parks? So it's kind of 50-50. People want it, people don't want it.
Right.
I feel like if we made a dog park, some people would like
Yes.
it and some people wouldn't,
Yep.
who also want the dog park. They'd be
Right.
like, this isn't dog park enough. And so like, a dog just needs the space to walk and play.
They were complaining more about people who have dogs that don't have them trained to go to a dog park.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea, cause people complain about the, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what,
I think what you said was having a place where there are some bags, cause people don't always
Yep.
bring them.
Yeah.
And just having signage and things like that, and like. The High Street path, I brought my dog up there, and that might be a good spot at the head of that
Yeah.
trail to have one of those. And there's barrels up there anyway, but. I think that's a better idea.
That's a good idea. Dog friendly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dog friendly is,
yeah,
Bags cost money.
I mean, and how many people are gonna take one and not 10?
I'll put all my
Do you
market
want-
baskets, I'll put my market basket bags up there.
yeah,
Later, and they take a whole bunch.
Gotta strategically hold like a plastic bag drive right when the bag ban goes through. And hold it right outside Market Basket. And they'll be like, here you go, there's 10 years worth, and then we'll be good.
Okay, so maybe, for, things to think about is prime locations then, to be dog friendly. Or to encourage dog friendly. So I know there's some places, I believe Town Commons is anti, like, I think you actually can't have your dogs there at all.
Right.
So. Yeah, if you guys. I can either start a list now, or you can tell me later in an email, places that you think would be good ideas, and and I can bring that to Rob, town planner.
I have a question. Do most of these new apartment buildings going in, are they putting, some of them are putting in dog parks? Any of the new ones have, like Curtis and, did they?
Chonos does.
The
I don't
Curtis
think
does?
Curtis did, cause I see people walking their dogs on the lawn between
I don't
Mechanic
think,
Street and
I don't think they did.
apartments.
I don't know.
That's-
I don't know
should be
about
something
Curtis
that's
Chonos.
required.
You
Yeah.
would
But it's like
think,
a dog park, it's like
Yeah.
the grass where it's.
They should require that.
yeah,
I mean, it's
uh,
a swale, actually. It's so much.
well, we don't wanna be there.
what about a mud puddle? Okay, any other thoughts on dog parks?
I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, I think the best places for like a dog-friendly space would be any trails and any like athletic fields that like have a little extra space for walking. Cause like people are gonna, you know, bring their kids to their after-school.
How many
sports,
dog
bring dogs.
businesses are in Bellingham? Can they sponsor something?
Yeah, Nicole.
I picked my dog right over here. Where am I?
I don't have a, so
I think this is
To be
what,
groomed, the bakery and all that stuff behind DQs. Yeah,
there's sort of Petco or anything like that in
yeah,
town?
yeah, there is.
okay, that's. Okay. Anything else? All right. The next category, funding and acquisition, Community Preservation Act. Sahan's not here to represent the select board, but, that was discussed a lot last month at the public forum. I just wanted to make a comment saying that like, we are not the CPA committee. We support it if it does go through, but it's not our responsibility to initiate that, to get people to vote for it. So, that's kind of, that whole conversation has been sent over to select board, and I do not have an update on where it's gone since then.
Have they, do you know if they talked about it at select board or you haven't, I'm not sure.
I haven't watched the select board meeting, so I don't
I don't
know.
know, I should watch it.
I probably.
That's on
could
me,
give you a
sorry.
second.
They did.
I know, it's a unpopular
Yeah,
topic.
sure they did.
I know I followed up with Sahan because I was curious what,
Yeah,
and he sent me an email that he had sent out to people. but
right.
that's it. Haven't heard anything since then.
Yeah, and I did send a follow-up email. I don't think I had all of you guys on it, but basically what I reiterated right here, I said to them
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
everyone is here talking about it and interested about that. They all know
Yeah,
that as well.
so they're not expecting us to push something forward. Good. Yep, that makes sense. Support but not push.
Right. Okay,
Maybe gently nudge.
yeah, Lakeview Ave parcel. This is entirely me. This is something I've thought about and I wanted to bring to you guys, so I'll share screen, go to our map. Where are we? So this actually is near where, you live. I took the batteries out of my mouse and I'm regretting that. Okay, so if you don't know this area well, this is conservation area. It's a little, the maps don't align completely, but this parcel is Concom property and we've had a senior volunteer walk it. There's known trails there. They're not formalized, but people in the area who know the area know that there's trails there. Good chunks of wetlands. There's 2 streams, Hoag Brook, and then, do you know what this one's called? I don't know. This one
Maybe
is also
that's
running.
the mysterious white book or something.
Maybe. So I know that people, even though we said that acquisition is not like a huge thing on our radar since we have plenty of parcels. This is a chunk that abuts us that is, I'll turn it on to aerial. It's just woods. And we own like this little square and like one other square, but it originally was supposed to be like a trailer park.
Auto count lots.
Right,
Yeah.
and then it just never was anything. There's been tree cutting happening here that potentially is on our lands, which hasn't happened recently, right?
He hasn't been back in
Oh.
2 years because he knows that I will be right on him.
Okay.
And I will be in your office so fast.
So I think that, so basically I went through all these parcels. I looked at who owns them. It's like 3 people tops besides us. They're not super useful. It's wet back there.
Well, next to me is wet.
Next to you is
And
wet.
the one in front of the town one, this, the one that we had the problem with.
Right.
And then there's one that wraps around the back corner of that I believe the town owns, according to Ann Matthews.
Yeah.
And the one in front of that has a spring in it, but then the rest of it is kind of a hill with some rocks but a lot of it is the hill.
Yeah.
It's built into that mound.
Who's cutting trees, do you know?
Who's cutting trees?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know.
Yeah, I know. Right here,
We know. He was digging holes in my yard.
Thomas.
He's got a problem.
Thomas Kovac.
Oh, resident, okay.
He doesn't, he doesn't have a house there. He lives in Rhode Island. And he comes up and cuts trees. I don't know if it's,
It was part of his aunt's estate. She had offered it to me while I was having some surveying done, and she was, as an abutter, was invited to the zoning board. She tried to give it to me, and my engineer said, don't take it, because it's just a big muck puddle, and you can't do anything with it except pay taxes on it. Nobody, what do you want it for? A buffer. You got it. Don't take it, you got your buffer, because nobody can do anything. The aunt died at 100. She had tried to give it to anybody and everybody that would take it. This nephew of hers from Rhode Island acquired, got it from the estate, and he comes roaring over there, and he's over on my land measuring, and I just had it surveyed, and he's telling me he owns half of my property, and he's over there cutting the trees, and I was like, this is where the boundary is, you stay on your side. And when he couldn't abide by that, and he's digging holes in my yard, I said, oh, I guess that this is how we're gonna play the game. And I went and visited Hannah. And then, well, actually Ann Matthews
Yeah.
at first.
yeah.
She and her husband came down, gave him a cease and desist and strict talking to. He's
Okay.
gone for about a week and a half, and he came back, and I took a little ride up here again. And, he's cutting on everybody's land, and so when they found me, I don't know what the final, but suddenly, one day as I was driving in, he tore out of there about as fast as you could go, and I've never seen him since.
Hmm.
So,
So what would have to happen for, I know you were just talking about acquisition land.
Yeah, so my thought is because it borders our property, this, if you calculate all of this, it's 5 acres.
Mhm.
So it's like, if there's already trails there, like, it would be potentially an easy acquisition for open space.
Have those roads been abandoned?
These aren't even, there's no roads here. So
That'll
that-
provide-
Yeah.
There's, I mean,
Like paper streets, they never-
there's like a, if
yeah,
they're a paper street, then they're technically a road under the town's legislation, so they would have to be like abandoned.
oh,
Mm.
okay, so I would probably have to talk to the assessor then.
So how would it say, I want to use that open land, it's open space, let's say that how do I get there? Is there access off the road?
Blackmar is this,
Okay.
and right now currently there's some kind of gate, is it right here, I believe?
Chain link gate locked.
Right, where it's like clear that this is the end point, and that's technically the start of conservation land, so it kind of aligns with us as well.
Who installed
So
that?
where does someone, like, if they want to use that,
Who installed the?
where do
gate?
they park?
So
Oh,
Right
who
now-
installed the gate?
nowhere,
It was shortly before I bought the house, I
But
was told it
if
was
we
the town.
had this space and we could create parking.
Interesting.
But
I'm just
currently,
wondering, like, because I know, in,
Right
like,
now, no, it's like a dead end.
yeah, like on Saddleback Hill, the end of Saddleback Hill where I
Right.
live, it's a cul-de-sac, there's no parking.
Right,
You park on the street, I guess, but,
right.
um,
Yeah.
There's no parking down there, and there's not
Right.
even a place to put parking.
I feel like I've had one of the, I think I had that parcel originally to like survey.
Yeah.
And I got there, I'm like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. And feel like I go down this road, I think I had one of my kids with me, but they're
It
like,
looks like it's a private driveway to my house.
yeah, is that your house on the left? Yeah, I thought you might come out with a gun or something. No, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hand this back to
Depends
Hannah.
on what you do, if you piss me off. then-
I just felt like I was encroaching on someone's area that I shouldn't be
I
in.
wish everybody felt that.
I
way.
know, yeah, right? Like I would, if someone came out and be like, listen, I don't have anything on that says I'm doing what I'm doing, but I have this piece of paper, but. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking like access, we would, yeah.
There isn't any.
So if open space said, hey, we wanna access that, we wanna buy that, right?
Yeah,
Do we have to, what's the process for that?
it depends on, there's a couple ways that this could go. We could obtain the property like in a formal way, like buy the land basically
Yeah.
from those people. We could encourage them to give us an easement situation, a conservation easement.
To buy it, though, you'd have to go to town meeting, right? More than likely.
I think so.
If those people had anything here, they would give it to you rather than pay taxes.
Right,
Right,
You've got
that's
a
why
little
I'm thinking,
50 by 50 square that you can't do anything with. What's the purpose of keeping it?
can you make that request to them, say we do take land?
Yeah.
For people who don't wanna sit there and pay taxes on
I
it.
told the problem child, I told his aunt before him, just give it to the town for conservation.
Yeah. I haven't looked at those kinds of steps in a long time. I've looked into it before, but there's a couple options where it could be used that way. It doesn't necessarily have to be the traditional, we have to own it, for it to be used.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go down that route unless people were interested in me going down that route. So if we're interested, I'll start digging into it.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
interested.
Okay.
Has anyone walked that area?
Claudia came over here this summer, and then Dawn did all of our parcel, so, yeah. That was it on
Not
that.
really very walkable even.
Well,
Those, steep in places and.
My concern was like, not necessarily walkability, but like, is there gonna be like an abandoned dump? Because I'm like, oh, like nice hazardous waste pit, let's buy that.
well, yeah, I have to look into it, but I haven't looked that deeply into it. Anything else on, I think that was it for that category, funding and acquisition. Cool. Communication and information. I just wanted to give you guys an update on the draft of the action plan. I found out that I need to bring it to the select board to be approved. But I don't have to bring it to town meeting, which is great. So I'm hoping to bring that to one of the select board meetings in November, since technically we will lose state funding, which was never used in the past, but now that I know that we can use state funding for this, the whole purpose of the deadline is that we would lose our funding if we don't have an updated one by November 2024. It's not going to, the state's not going to be able to approve it by November 2024, but my goal is to at least send it to them sometime next month. So, if you have any thoughts on it, I'm working in the final stages of it. And then when I have it, I obviously will share the document with you, and that goes for the maps as well. And I don't have anything to say on the maps unless you guys have anything to say on maps.
I uploaded one that I had made a while ago. It was like a revision to one of the maps. I think this one. It was like based on your comments. I had made it a while ago, but forgot to upload it, so I uploaded it again.
Do you want me to share it on the screen?
If you want to. It looks a lot better on the screen than it does printed out. I don't know why the printer like can't read GIS.
What's it called?
It is the environmental challenges one, but it's called like revised. I think
Oh, it's right there. And then. Oh, did you share? Okay, everyone see this. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this one is about environmental challenges. So what did you, oh, based on the comments I gave you?
Yeah, so I think I had like all like a layer like went across the whole map. So I like cropped it to Bellingham and I think there was some stuff that I like simplified. I think the wetlands I just turned into like green blobs, whereas before it was like a wetland symbol, and that was kind of a lot. And everything else. And then
What does water body impairment classes mean?
that's the Clean Water Act.
Oh,
Like the
5 is bad, isn't it? Is that why it's red?
It's always red in the maps, but really it means that the water body has been identified as impaired and a TMDL has been promulgated. It's in effect. So that's the Charles River. So, like,
Oh, like the entire river, all the way up to Boston is 5?
I think so.
Ooh.
Maybe like parts are 4.
Box Pond is,
Impaired for some interesting stuff.
What is UST?
Underground storage tank.
The DPW one's gone now. We removed it
Which
On
one?
release.
at the DPW. 26 place one.
oh, okay.
So we got the above ground now. See, that's what the triangle is right here.
I get you. Okay.
It used to be that, that's why we got rid of it. The
Like
tank was
SPCC.
deteriorated.
Secondary containment. I hope.
Oh, yeah, the new one. Yeah. The 3,000 gallon was a big outside.
I just pulled a 15,000 gallon tank out of a school a couple years ago. Hey, why did you need that?
Out of a school.
It had like one boiler. You're like, I don't know, just in case.
They might run out.
So this is awesome. This is very detailed.
Lots, so.
For the people like me who I just asked like 3 different questions of like what things mean, will you create something for below the map to say like AUL means this, because I don't know what AUL is.
NHESP.
Natural heritage
No.
and endangered species.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a new layer too.
Thank you.
That, yeah.
Would
We have 1,000 more questions than that. That's just-
include like a.
That's where I live,
a
so.
description kind of in the text too, to be like, oh, this map shows all of these things, and then like spell that out.
Yeah, and maybe we just, in our whole plan, we have a page of acronyms. Cause I am scared of acronyms.
I think I like already have.
I look at them, I'm like, no.
Maybe 2.5 pages.
CERCLA NF. crap.
Circles, yeah.
Yeah, what's that one?
Weird
Say,
t-shirt.
CERCLA is the
Acronym.
comprehensive
Sure.
convergence.
Now I'm just trying to challenge you to see if you know.
Yeah, the two.
Emergency Response Compensation and Liability Act, and NFRAP is no further remedial action planned. So a site was identified and then they assessed it and they either didn't find anything or they found something and cleaned it up.
so it has to do with like chemical waste, or is it chemical only, or like could be a physical, like milk jugs and like physical litter?
I mean, chemicals are physical,
That's true, okay.
but
Things that, I mean.
it's an EPA program, so it's like environmental contamination. And then like I basically made everything that like is inactive gray, so it's like the CERCLA and FRAP. We didn't have any like active CERCLA sites, which is good.
Nice.
So that's why there's no other CERCLA on there. And then brownfield is like a lot of people like don't like that word, but it actually is a property that was basically assessed using state or federal funding. So it doesn't really mean that something was there. Sometimes they can use it for a targeted brownfield assessment. Where they just are like, I have this property and I don't have enough money to get it assessed, can you help? And then they get some funding, they assess it, maybe they find nothing.
Cool.
Yeah, that's funny, cause the gas station's here, but then another guy wants to put another gas station right across the street.
Oh, just like more.
Oh, is
that the weird
square
parcel?
Yeah.
About?
You know those abandoned houses up on,
Yeah.
Harper?
I think we could really use another gas station.
Oh my God.
No, that was the plan.
Anyways, you're instigating.
You know, what would go really good
do
up
that.
there, a BP. Make up for the one across the school.
All right, anything else with maps? We're having a mapping meeting at the end of the month to like formalize them, and then when they are formalized, we'll also send those out.
Yeah, I was
to
actually
everybody.
in on our site today and I see you had two kind of final maps, superficial geology and something else. So there's work to be done. But like I said, it was kind of noisy today and
Yeah. You got,
W was, I think it'll calm down after today, a little bit.
we have 2
So-
weeks.
Okay.
Some of my maps,
You think I gotta put my headphones on?
some of mine were just information gathering, so like I didn't know how to like explain something, so like I think the one where I had like the water and sewer system, that was just for like information for the report. But I don't think we need to include that map unless there is one in there, which I'm forgetting. I had that.
Okay.
It's just like maybe I'm like, why does the sewer just end?
You know, that might be important for maybe not under, it could be under environmental challenges, but why we're doing certain things in certain areas. Like it might not be a
Right.
map requirement to the state, but it might impact why we make decisions, so.
No, environmental challenges is good. I don't think it needs it.
It doesn't need more, I can tell you that. Okay, the other thing on there is the website, which it's been like this for a bit, so if you've already looked at it, then I'm sorry that I'm repeating this, but I had it on the agenda for the last meeting, but we got through nothing during the well, we got through things on the public forum, but nothing that I had on the agenda. So I just wanted to share what it looks like right now. It's under boards and committees. Officially, it's got its own page, open space, a little blurb about what we do. This is, yeah, I was gonna bring this up later, but this is a place where we can put little updates. So I have the North Bellingham Dam, and then I also have our proposal. And then this was all Claudia that did this work. So she did this where you can click the link. And this is in the works, which we're gonna update even more. Have we seen this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this will be even more updated. We have a volunteer who's going to map more trails. And we're gonna add it to that. Oh, that's not this. And then here's the old plan. You guys' names are up here. And then this was the cool thing she added. This is what we were talking about in the meeting, and she found a way to create people a complaint form. No one has written anything yet. Because I believe right now it's supposed to come to me,
You
so
haven't gotten any yet?
I haven't gotten any.
We gotta publicize
Well, then I do.
Yeah.
A few things.
Yeah.
Did she have it
That
emailed?
Hannah is
There's a tree
terrible.
across the trail.
Did she have it emailed to you, or do you have to actually log in and get data from behind the scenes?
I thought it was
'Cause the
forwarded to my
old
email.
site was like that, we had to go in behind the scenes and get stats.
I'll triple check. I guess double, because I haven't checked yet, but I thought it was supposed to forward to my email, so.
Is it in like an embedded Google form or is it something different?
It's something different through our website that you can do. But I probably can keep record of that, so if there's something that reoccurs, you know, like we can tell. So if anyone gets bored and they want to test it out, then I will I'll know if I get it, so. I think that was it with the
I'll
website.
just do it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do it now.
And there's a calendar, but. So if you have any thoughts or ideas on how to add more to this, let me know.
Were those maps that you had on, are they on that site?
No, because they are just drafts right now. They will be under the plan, and then you have a map page, right? I have. Under conservation, right now, I have,
Yeah, we gotta.
I have this.
Point 3 departments.
I have this that lists like useful maps, and then I thought you. Not just GIS, but I thought maybe you had something else, but, and then there's also maps. Right here,
Well, those are the assessment maps.
right,
That's what I mean. We got those maps, you got
do you have another place for
map
maps?
links you have. Under DPW. Bellingham GIS. but, you know,
I don't know if this is open spaces place, but I think it would be a good idea to have all of
Oh,
them.
right.
in one
Oh,
place.
Left bar there, Bellingham GIS. At the top.
Am I one? Oh,
I don't.
you
I
think
need
they
to
should
work-
be in the same place?
Well, like, we could keep links to different places, but like, just have like each department's individual projects and stuff that we're working on in GIS.
Maybe at the
to
top.
be like,
I haven't done too much lately. but
Okay, yeah,
I do have our roads on our maps online. or
Yeah, like
our
your-
cities.
your maps are different than like what I posted.
Yeah.
And the maps that I have on conservation are not. Like, I did not create those maps, I just think they're useful if you are interested in conservation,
Right.
like, these are
Yeah.
useful things, so. So we could potentially have something like that for open space for all the maps you
Oh,
guys
it's good to
create.
have, yeah.
Well,
Well, we could have them as like a thumbnail, click on it, and it'll pop up.
yeah,
People can download it. Zoom in, zoom in.
yeah. Did you send it?
I
The
did.
complaint? Oh, okay.
You get it? Did it come in?
I don't know, let me see.
Here we go.
I even sent a
You
picture
sent
of like the
five?
high street fields I had from
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Test from Chad, Saddleback Hill Road, and then let's see if I can open the pic.
It's actually, that's not Saddleback Hill, that's
Are
High
you
Street,
testing
but
me?
just
No,
to see,
I know,
if-
it
just to see if the
says High
attachment worked.
Street.
Tester.
Where is this?
So that went to your email?
It went to my email. It went to,
I'm gonna send that link out to people.
Yeah, I think it's,
it went to Conservation Administrator. So I think there's like a generic email. Cool, it works. That's great.
We could probably update that too.
Yeah, I think that's easily changeable. That's it for maps?
Now,
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know, when you wanted to meet, that it would be at like 9 in the morning. Haven't,
I know, that's why I said that you didn't have to be there.
oh, okay, well, maybe I'll just like, I'll take a PTO.
You could
just like call it
for
from the
maps.
office.
you mentioned that before. I'll take PTO, do something.
Parks and Rec, open space parcel review. I just want to let you know that Don Coelho has been awesome and he's finished all the conservation ones. So we officially have gone through all the parks. We've gone through all the conservation ones. So now, what do we do with that information? Some of that information we've already added to like our action plan. He is gonna buddy up with David, I believe, to create the trails that we don't have mapped at all yet. So that's gonna be awesome. I don't have anything else to say on that unless,
Was he the gentleman at the open?
He
space
came to the public
forum,
forum.
and
He
was
said-
Sitting in the front.
yeah,
But, he's been at a couple of our meetings before.
So the those parcel reviews are the things that we went out and like wrote stuff down.
Right.
So is there, and I brought this up before, and I don't know how you attack this. The list of all parcels. What are we gonna do, like, what needs to be improved, something small, something medium, something big, and like cost? Would love to try to, if I'm the one that starts to do that, I'm happy to do it, I don't know all these parcels, but
yeah.
maybe the ones.
We have a list of parcels.
Yeah.
It has some information about.
Yeah.
what Needs to be improved, but none of it includes, like walkover stuff. It was just like, I like exported from GIS, a list of all our parcels, and then
Yeah.
just started filling it into some areas, but we wanted to add to that.
I think what you're saying is like the next step, right? So,
Right,
like,
yeah, like
because
we created this plan,
Right,
the state gets it and all that stuff, I don't care, like,
Right.
yeah, you do that part of it, which is great, cause I don't want to. But then the action stuff, like, what are we gonna actually do? How are we gonna maintain stuff? How are we gonna improve, make little improvements and show improvement?
right,
For me, I think that's kind of important, because people hear open space and they hear conservation and they hear, but they wanna see like, what does that mean?
yeah,
What does that do?
right,
They're not gonna read your report, no offense, they're not gonna read our report, they're not. They're gonna say, oh, wow, they put up a new whatever here, or,
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was there at High Street, so that's more. The
right.
signage that we'll put up, that type of thing, so I guess that's my, like, that's gotta be one of our next steps, I would think,
Yeah,
right?
so what I'm envisioning is that table that I created is probably the only thing that people would actually look at, because you don't have to read sentences. It's like, look at the table. We take that table and then we make that table even more specific, is what you're saying, and then that's what our meetings would start revolving around.
Yeah,
I just haven't instigated that because we don't have an approved plan yet.
right,
So why start that if we don't get approval from it?
yeah,
But that's what I was thinking,
That's
like,
nice.
I guess like January 2025 is.
Sure, yeah.
Would be like the goal for that, because then we can like take those low, medium, high things and attack them.
Okay.
so would this group though prioritize the location? Is that what we would do? Like, we would say, let's start with this location and then we identify small and try to pick that stuff off?
yeah, I mean,
or-
so, there's so many places, like, it is like, how do you, what do
Where do you
pick
start?
first?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you pick something that's easy to get done, could have lots of usage. And then you kind of promote that, like, that's our first step, like, this is our first step in many. And then maybe get feedback from people and say, we've prioritized these, what are things that you guys look for? I mean, I know we've talked about dog parks, but
Right.
I'm already over dog parks.
it would be good to, yeah, it's
Chad
stuff
said
that we
no.
can do in-house.
Yeah,
Just
and so,
quickly get
I
those
mean,
done.
honestly, I would love to volunteer like my kids' team to do something, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we're gonna do this for a couple hours, or, and I think if you had something and you said, hey, we anticipate it's gonna take 4 hours, this is the stuff we need, the hockey team's gonna show up and do that.
Yeah,
Or the Cub Scout group, or the girls softball organization, or something like that. But I think it's kind of like without a lack of direction and like, well, what are we doing? And which will take time,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do that in one meeting and figure out everything you need and
right,
how it works, and then like what part DPW plays and what part youth soccer plays
yeah,
in the maintenance and stuff of things, so.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but love to just give a win, like show a win.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Not
And
just-
we gotta start somewhere. I mean, it is a
Yeah.
lot and, you do. I mean, it's, at some point, we gotta pick something and just go for it, go with it.
Do schools still do community service requirements?
So that's another thing, I mean, like National Honor Society has, you have to do hours, you can definitely do that, I told you there's a burning class at the high school, I'm sure they would take on some initiative, you know what I mean, like. If it was up near the high school, they could do it during that period, they could,
Or even just individual kids if they're trying to get their community service. hours
100%, yeah.
paid, and then you can, like.
I mean, it's not always easy to get volunteers, I'll be honest with you, like, if you've been up, and Joe knows this, doing baseball and stuff, you ask people to show up. And the people that show up are the same people who are on the board, coaching, selling,
Yeah.
snow cones, like,
Look
it's
around the
the
room.
same people
Yeah.
that are doing that.
Here's a
But
perfect example.
yeah, but I
whatever,
think
if it's
that-
me, and my 2 kids, my wife and kids and 2 other people, we'll do it, you know, and maybe someone else will be inspired.
Yeah,
Instead
I
of
mean,
complaining.
But we can post it on social media, how fun you had doing it.
I'm sure I'll have a smile on my face.
it made me think, so like Joe and I in the Parks Department can take care of, like Northfield has old bleachers
Yeah.
that are off to the side, getting rid of those.
Yeah, just,
Or
yeah,
old soccer nets maybe somewhere, or whatever nets they may be.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
Dragging those out and getting rid of them. Those are a one-time cleanup. And it's done, and it's an improvement.
Yeah.
You know? So
And people
those
who have
type
stared
things.
at him for like years are like, finally.
Oh, yeah,
You're
somebody,
just finally.
you know how many people have seen stuff like that and been like, why don't they clean it, but never reported it,
Never
never
reported
tried to
it.
get a group,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nothing.
That's a good point, Sean. There are a number of things that we're gonna start working on as the weather turns and the actual maintenance goes away. We have a number of projects on our parks list, and those ugly bleachers are certainly one of them.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
Joe,
they're
talk about
coming
that
right out.
flagpole too, we were looking
Yeah.
at. Talk
Yeah,
about
the
that.
flagpole. There's a flagpole at South Elementary School, at the Petro Elementary School, that has been rusting and hasn't had a flag on it in, like, from what I've heard, like 25 or 30 years. And
It's on a
it was,
memorial.
Down.
it's on a dedication to the gentleman's name is, one of the fields is named after him, and it's one of the main fields that they use almost every day. And it's just been flagless and rusted for years. So that's another item that we'll be knocking out too.
Yeah, so stuff like that is good, because then it's done, like, there's no outside future maintenance you can easily keep up with, it's
Correct.
not, so like those type things. Are the good ones, like you talk about, like those bleachers Joe and I have looked at, and it's like. What we're gonna do, we've talked about it, it was an idea Joe had and I'm gonna tag along, is when it slows down parks wise. Probably mid to late November or whatever, start walking the parks and start doing stuff like that, or creating like lists that we can like attack. And get done, and those items are the good ones, because you can do it and it's done, and there's really no other follow-up.
There's certainly, just to follow up with that, Sean, and just like, when I first took this position, I started to walk all of the parks and just get, I've lived here for a long time, but I wanted to make sure that I knew the areas, to a T, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's just a lot, and it's going to take time for sure, and manpower.
Nicole brought up something on the side here that I think is valuable, is we officially do have a town Facebook page too. So she was like, can't we advertise like need for volunteers and stuff? I'm like, now we can. Now it's not just to the website, because I'm sure not a lot of people come to the, town website.
Yeah, I think
Well, it is.
if we, you just have to have a specific, like, this is what we're doing, this is the time you need to show up, not like, come anytime on Saturday. Like, that stuff doesn't work.
Right,
Cause I'm still there 8 hours into it, and someone, oh, I didn't know it was still going on, so.
right. Yeah, very specific things, like if it's a very specific thing
Yeah.
that needs to be done, or like catering to very specific, like, we know that NHS needs 100 hours before they graduate, like, come help the town, whatever, reach out,
Could we even do something like, clean up the park and enter your chance to win a raffle, and it's like, a $20 gift card to Starbucks.
Yeah. And I think you can target I don't even know who the National Honor Society person is, but reach out to them with there's
Yeah.
plenty of groups, Cub Scouts and.
well, and also, I don't know what the status is for, there's a kind of a co-op program in high school for, right?
So Karen Aries left, they did replace, and I don't, there is one, yes.
But
I
there
haven't
hasn't
been-
been communication right now.
There was, no, there's not that person, and through, I'm sure they're just, but, yeah, so the connection I have with Karen, she left, so, we don't really have right now a connection with the new person.
Well, like a year or so ago, they were trying to create a relationship between, like, encouraging students to be more inclusive in like town work, and just like, I know obviously DPW was one of the groups they were looking at, but just like, it's cool to be part of the town kind of thing. So, maybe we can encourage that relationship again.
Joe is a kid working for Joe, just graduated, he did the spring internship at the DVW. So, and then he graduated, started working over the summer, still working.
Through the school, he did.
Through the school, yep,
Yeah.
then he got an OSHA 10, the kid's got an OSHA 10 card.
Wow.
The goal was to eventually get to this point where the kids were getting like water treatment and distribution licenses. We didn't get there yet, but, yeah, he just liked the parks work and was started working over the summer and he's still working. And he'll work until we gotta shut down for the season.
And that age group might be more interested because they're the ones playing on those fields, right?
Yeah, that's why I think, you know. If you say to a team, hey, listen, on Saturday, there's no practice, you're gonna come, and this is what we're gonna do. Like, we don't use kids enough. They sit at, we don't. I mean, it's probably child labor laws or something, but, I mean, my son can do a little more than sit and play, FIFA against his buddies online. I can get his butt out of the, house, but, so yeah, I just, and if they do it as a team, it's a kind of a good, you see teams like raking leaves for people and all that other stuff. It'd be nice to have coaches latch onto that too. You know, it's just a couple hours. You do 2 hours with 20 kids, you can get a lot of work done.
Right.
Or you sit there and yell at them to get a lot of work done. It's one or the other.
It's like you said, though, it's identifying the project.
Yep.
Um,
What they need to bring, what our
Right.
goal is for by the end of that 2 hours, we want to have X done, so.
I know that, we talked about like developing a Parks and Rec committee as well, but I think we should also consider like a schedule of like routine maintenance in the meantime, at least. Because like they can go clean up that park and then the next
I
day
agree.
it's like trashed.
Yeah. 100%.
Why are they going out of that?
And I think once, it sounds like these guys are you guys are starting that process to like find out what needs to get done
Yeah.
and get to a certain point, and then each year it's a maintenance thing. It's not we have to rebuild that completely
Right.
and do that, so.
right.
Yeah, currently we have people that are at the parks, almost every day, at least 3 times a week, doing trash and doing their best to maintain, overgrowth and just areas that have gotten out of control. But, like I've said before, this town has grown a lot, and especially the Parks Department, they're gonna need some help to be able to maintain a lot of this stuff. And, obviously Sean's mentioned we're trying to progress and get there, but it won't be a short road for sure.
Do you guys have something that is like visual, like an Excel sheet or something of like where you guys go on a weekly basis and like what you do on a
I
weekly
could provide you
quarterly
with
or
that.
whatever?
I could draw something up. I actually have a document that was given to me early on in my tenure with the parks. Just a very gentle list of daily and weekly stuff. But if I had, and now it's just old hat for me, but I could probably come up with some sort of a list, that of things that we must do every single week. Yeah, I could do that, and I can get that to you. I could probably email that to you if you'd like.
Yeah, I think that would be nice for everyone here to see like where it overlaps with our open space, because then we'll know where the holes are, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that for you.
And there has been things happening outside of the norm too, like the new swing set at the town common. That area was excavated by, Joe, was it DPW or did you guys spread the playground mulch, but who dug the area?
DPW dug the area. We finished it off, and then an outside vendor installed the swing set, and another outside vendor installed the border. But now that swing set is in, it's a little different because it's the common. But if it were not the common, if it were Northfield or Macy School or whatnot, the Bellingham Parks Department would be employed with maintaining that area, and we would go there on a weekly basis where we maintain the grass, the overgrowth, the weeds, trash. Kids cause trouble, they leave stuff, and they sometimes as graffiti and all that kind of thing. So like I've said before, there are a number of places that we do need to visit, and at times I wish we could be there a little bit more frequently, but right now we're doing the best we can for sure.
Yeah, there were fence repairs at the playground at the middle school, the frog playground or whatever. So there's some special projects going on or repairs that outside of the norm too. So we're kind of chipping away. There's some washout in that area that got cleaned up and fixed up. So we're headed in the right direction anyway.
When Dennis was here, he mentioned that the select board, remember we talked about we had a recreation commission, there were 3 people on it, now it's just Bill Roberts that does that. But Dennis alluded that the select board was gonna create a rec, like a park and rec, the committee. Cause remember, Dennis like,
No,
I'm
I
gonna be
do remember
retired,
that.
I'd be on it, you know what I mean? He kinda
Yeah.
nominated himself to be
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
I'm just curious where that's at, I can ask on, but, it would be nice to have a group advocating for that,
Yeah,
stuff. And
Nothing's
if
been-
Dennis was on it, that'd be great, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they looking to find funding to do that though?
What's that?
I thought it was funding was the obstacle.
So I think the original step was just to have a committee together, not to have a necessarily yet a rec director or parks, like necessarily park and rec building and department, but it was to kind of spearhead some initiatives.
Like-
And in the past, like Bill Roberts is the one that's done like permits and things like that, and maybe that would just go through that committee instead of
right.
a one-person show.
I believe that that's kind of where it ends with Bill Roberts nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's kind of all by himself, and I think really all he's doing is every now and then he fields a phone call. Not so often, but every now and then he fields a phone call and he will write up a permit for field use. And I think that's really just about it for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on it, but that would be great, even if just like Joe had his own committee to help him with his work, which I know that people help him that are paid,
Yeah.
but like, just like how I have my conservation commission.
Right, yeah.
You know.
or if he said, hey, it'd be great if we could do this, that needs this particular funding, and then that group can go back and
Yeah.
through
Yeah,
the town and do
right.
that. That's really, it's not to tell everyone what to do, it's more to get,
Right,
make improvements, maintain things.
right,
And then maybe someday there is a rec director, who knows, that it would be under them to actually
Yeah.
do that work.
No, that's, yeah, but that group would probably be good to recommend that,
Yeah.
or help with that anyway.
yeah.
Would that be similar to like the Conservation Commission where like someone comes in and they're like, I have a complaint about this park? And they have to be like heard in front of the board and like then the Parks and Rec Commission.
Oh, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
let's say it was a dispute between like two youth organizations, they would be the one that would say, listen. I'm just using lacrosse and soccer, you have to figure this out, this is what we have access to, I think. It sounds like Bill just kind of mitigates that and says you do this and you do that right now, which is fine, I mean, he's done it for a long time, but, yes.
But
But they would
someday he
get on,
won't.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah.
There's no system right now.
but to answer your question, yeah, I would think that that type of committee or group, they get that person or would get on the agenda and they would get to, attend to the meeting. Any meeting would be open anyway, so they'd have a chance to talk, but if there was something specific, then similar to here, they could probably get on the agenda and say, hey, listen, I noticed this at this park, we need to, whatever it may be.
Or even like when they went to put the splash pad in,
Yeah.
that was a fundraising, that would go through that board. Again, you know what I'm saying, obviously the town would have to approve it, but
Yeah,
when they put that in, that was for. How many years ago was that? But when they put that in, that would have probably gone through there. I don't know how it got on there, probably just went through the select board or something,
I think it was roughly 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So. Something, we can go.
yeah, well, I'm like, I don't think we're on any category, but it's still important stuff.
Yeah,
It's
we are.
important, but it's not under a category. So I'm like, where are we at? Okay, we're, no more comments on parcel review? Great. North Bellingham Dam, just wanted to, have we talked about this at all? in this committee? Okay. North Bellingham Dam is right near Hartford and Maple. It abuts conservation land, it's technically Army Corps, property. It's a failed dam. We've been out there. We went out there with a lot of different representatives,
The most recent one,
political,
yeah.
environmental, town,
We've met a lot of people out there, actually,
probably like 15 people out there.
yeah, on that one, but we've met numerous groups there.
So anyone that could potentially help us with funding or voting and like everything. It's a failed dam. If you've ever been out there, there's cracks on the side. The river ignored it and created its own stream around it. It's eroding the conservation land, so it's impacting town property. And so me and Sean and now hopefully more people, we're all trying to encourage the removal of it. So the Conservation Commission approved having them do an informational hearing during next week's meeting, starting at 7, just to get the ball rolling, to get people to learn about why it's important to remove dams that are failing. But that's technically under open space as well, so just wanna let you guys know about that.
The Army Corps okay with that?
The
It
Army
can be
Corps
difficult.
currently said that it is being used to maintain like flood protection.
Which,
I've dealt with them before, they can be a real problem.
We've been out there though in other times. Originally, when we started, it sounded like they were interested maybe kinda, in like it coming down or something with it. They didn't necessarily say that, but we even filled out a grant. There was a grant opportunity that I haven't heard anything since. And that was through them, wasn't it? Wasn't
Yes.
it through?
That was through them.
Yeah.
Did you say they own the land there, or?
They own, yeah, I can pull up on.
It's
the
behind Stallbrook, is that where it is?
I'll show you.
Near, it's on Maple Street across from the old mill.
Maple
Oh, okay,
There's, there's an access road that's, you could easily pass
Yeah,
and
They-
go in, it's right there.
okay.
But if you drive over the bridge there and look, if you're headed towards Hartford Ave, you can see the dam.
By Ralph Moore's house.
It is for flood control and it needs repair, then they should fix it.
They
I
haven't,
mean, that's crazy.
it has not, but it's, so part of the complicated thing is that, yes, it's Army Corps, but they, from what we understand, have never in recent years maintained it in any
Right.
way. And if you went out there and looked at it, you'd be like,
You can
it
tell.
definitely has not been maintained.
which is
So-
weird, because they do dam inspections all over the state,
Right.
so like, what
They
is
didn't know
They
that.
inspect.
Damn them.
Yeah, so you call them.
So they're not, like Sean said, we're treading lightly on saying what their opinion is, because we don't have a straight answer on what they want, but they aren't rushing to fix it, and they're also not
Yeah.
necessarily on board with us either, they're
You
just
have
kind
to
of
do an
Switzerland
environmental
right now.
assessment.
But this is all of our property that has trails on it, and the dam's like right here. So, you guys can, park over here if you ever wanna like come visit and assess it, but I can actually zoom in a little bit, not that this picture shows the dam, but it's complicated because even though they own it because it's the Charles River. It's really complicated legal stuff. Most of the time, it's town to initiate what happens to the dams in terms of like removing them. And it's a huge initiative right now across the state. If you haven't seen it in the news at all, like lots of dams that have been coming down and they're trying to bring down as many as possible to reestablish natural habitat and lots of other benefits.
So let it reclaim itself.
Basically, yep. But it's a timely process. Probably will take potentially 3 to 5 years in total, start to finish. Like the conversation we had a month ago, not even a month, 2, 3 weeks ago, to the end would be 3 to 5 years of work. So, yeah, so Charles River Watershed Association is helping us start that process.
That's good if they're on board too, because they'll pressure the Corps.
Yeah, that's how we even got involved, was through them.
Yeah, because they're good, but the Corps can be a real pain.
The grant was through the Army Corps of Engineers too, so it was like for a study
Okay.
on.
This.
it
I
was-
thought that was a log.
Nope. It's like,
There's logs.
There's
in it.
logs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
Everything's
the home of the
favorable
beaver.
for removing it, there's no question. I've had an experience with dealing with the Corps and they can be tough.
Yeah,
You know, I asked them what to do about a site that had some unexploded ordinances on it that they had done.
I can't, I'm so hard of hearing. I'm sorry.
Not
You have a-
important.
you have a soft
It was a
voice.
soft voice.
That's
Yeah.
a soft voice, yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes I like watch the videos after and I'm like moving my mouth, but I can't hear.
You did say unexploding ordinances, so that's what piqued my interest.
I emailed them and they just didn't reply, so.
Oh,
I'm like, you guys did this, UXO investigation and, how come you didn't see these ones? What do I do about them? And no response. So I'm like, okay, guess I'll just, not go on that site.
So at the meeting, will they explain what you're gonna do?
Up there with my truck and a chain.
so.
You don't have to do that now, but will they explain it at the meeting and not just go to the meeting?
They're going
You can tell me
to basically. They're gonna explain the importance of dam removal.
Okay.
They're gonna explain the timeline of like, what does that mean? They have to do feasibility studies, they have to do cost analysis.
You have to make sure that the downstream part of the dam isn't gonna be like severely impacted by it. So
Right.
like what
That's
the
what I mean, how are
before
we
and
gonna hold
after
that
is.
back and let it slowly go?
So they have a few options, that they're gonna have to look at. So it's gonna be like, do we repair the dam? Do we take it out? Do we blah, blah? Obviously, like the preferred alternative at this point seems to be taking it out. And then they're gonna have to do sediment testing upstream and downstream. Gonna have to probably file an environmental assessment under NEPA, and that's gonna have to go like to the Federal Register.
You're gonna be busy.
I'm not gonna be busy, it's
Who pays for this?
The grant slash.
Yeah, so, yeah, Charles River helps with funding. We gave a statement in the thing saying the town of Bellingham did not have funds allotted for this and everything. So ideally, yeah, there'd be state funding or federal, who knows? I mean, just, but not the town. Yeah, but I can't guarantee, who knows which way it goes in the future, you know what I mean? I don't,
And some grants, like, you can't get it unless the town agrees to match it.
right, okay, so,
So
exactly.
that's where it gets tricky, and that's why like we need community input, but also support, because.
Isn't that little more than a
Ah.
stone wall though?
Yeah, it's not, yeah,
I've
but,
driven by and sort of see it, but I'm driving, so I haven't stopped and.
yeah, I mean, it's good size, it's a big spillway, I mean, but there's tons of water going around it, I mean, even.
Well, backhoe and a dump truck and it's.
I like your
Look,
style.
I'm not gonna tell you what to do.
We'll all wear headlamps and head
Yeah,
down.
let's go right now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's amazing what can happen in the dark of night.
It's amazing what the cost of just getting rid of it is versus all the stuff you have to do before you.
Oh
get
my
it,
God,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so you probably spend
No.
Way
10
more than you
times
should.
what it costs to remove it.
I hope it happens just so I can be involved. I've never been involved in a dam removal project. But I do hope it happens just for that
Yeah.
experience with
Does
it.
the
Yeah.
town have an excavator at all? No, I know they have backhoes, but do they have a small
A
excavator?
mini, yeah, a mini, yeah.
A medium-sized excavator and a dump truck's all you need.
Yeah.
Environmental
We
study.
just need that
No,
thumbs
I'm
up.
not- no, I understand
Anna,
the
you-
politics of it.
Yeah.
I'm saying the mechanical removal is a half a day, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, the actual, I'm guessing probably, yeah, all the legwork is far, I'm sure, outweighs the actual removing of the dam.
Yeah, I'm an
But-
operating engineer and I'm
Yeah.
thinking from that point of view, it's like,
But you got some areas to restore. I'd love to see like some sort of overlook there too, though. We keep asking the question, like with this, can you do like a little boardwalk trail to an overlook? Cause the site, if you go there,
It's very pretty.
it's awesome. I mean, it is, if you stand on the spillway and look, I mean, it's any time of year, it's a great view. I mean,
I'm
so it's a
at the
cool
point
spot.
where I actually go and stop. I always drive by.
Oh, it's a cool view. If you go, especially now, the fall, if you go like late after, it would be. I have several pictures from different times I've been there. It's nice.
Ralph Kubota is at his house right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I wanna get.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I will say that the USGS map does call that area.
So,
Maple
does anyone
Street.
else have any
It
questions
does. It
or
causes a pond.
comments on that?
Yeah.
All right.
You have to correct the new
USGS
spillway
map
too,
calls
though,
it
the
Maple Street.
where it's going down, right?
Yeah, they'd have to restore the banks of the conservation
Which you could
land.
use some of the stone to backfill that.
Yeah, so it'd look nice and, but like I said, it'd be cool to add something to that project too, to have that like a kind of a little
vision.
scenic,
Oh, no
yeah.
question, yeah.
I know.
Maybe
I'm
we'll
already-
go-
Prom photos there or
I'm
something?
already on the overlook board and we can't even get a response.
Plenty of parking.
But what you're getting at is a reason for the community to want it to happen. Cause a lot of people
Yep.
would be like, I can't access it right now. Why would I support something that's not gonna benefit me? So if we add that element, like,
Mhm.
Yeah, give them a vision of what's gonna happen.
give them a vision, like, maybe we do get a grant for an overlook, maybe we actually, well, we already know someone's gonna go in and formalize those trails, so like, if they see a benefit of it, then that's gonna help us in the
I
long
also
run.
think
North
maybe
Trails.
they
Call
don't
it the North Trail.
have
Yeah.
or want to do their research on the history of it, so I think that could be beneficial to them to say like, you guys didn't install this, it was installed by like, Ray's woolen mill back in the day. And, like,
They are gonna talk about the history of it as well, actually.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys bought this land in like 73, like. Well, after that, it's around for 100 years, so it has nothing to do with flood control. So stop lying, and also, do you want it to fail and we don't know what happens downstream, or do you want it to go after we've designed or like evaluated what's gonna happen downstream and made sure it's safe? Like, do you guys wanna be responsible for that?
Is there another dam further down?
Well,
Yeah, we
so we
removed that.
removed it, it was on Pearl
Oh,
Street.
it's all removed already?
Yeah. Yep,
Wow.
so
And that
hopefully
one's doing fine, right?
it's doing great.
That's doing great.
So if you're interested in that, I made sure it's first on the agenda. Next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. You can watch it, whatever our government channel is, or you can come in person. That's all I have on the agenda. Is there any other business? Okay. Thanks everyone for coming. Bye, Joe.
Thank you.
See you,
Bye,
Joe.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night. Hannah,
too.
I'll get you that list in the coming, few days.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.